Hey, everybody. I'm home and I'm back in the studio, and we are so glad to be back. We're so glad to be home. Um, you have no idea how, how nice it is to be home again. But it did mean that we did not get to do our live stream yesterday because I was actually in transit, having to go through the rigmaroles of getting discharged from the hospital and then driving home, which, of course, there was um, no consistent signal. So we weren't able to do a live stream. So we're gonna do yesterday's live stream now, and then I will do today's live stream a little bit later. So if I'm wearing the same outfit in two videos, well, I was wearing the same outfit for a couple of videos there anyway. Yeah, I was wearing that lovely hospital gown. So isn't it nice to see that I'm not in a hospital gown and I'm actually sitting I'm actually sitting in a real chair instead of in a hospital room. And I have this lovely screen behind me, which eventually, of course, we're going to have, we're going to have it green screen and we're going to have, all these lovely things. Um, but I'm just so excited. Like I said, I'm so excited to be home. My dogs are excited that I'm home, and my family's excited that I'm home, especially my wife. I know she's probably been pulling her hair out to have me home, and so now that I'm home, she's in bed asleep. So, you know, isn't that the way it always is? Anyway, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into our Bible reading today. Today we are doing our Bible reading for the 4th, which means we are in Genesis, and we are in Genesis chapter 10, beginning Genesis chapter 10 through Genesis chapter 12, and then we will go to Matthew chapter 4. And again, I'm reading in the NLT, so if you'd like to follow along, but you can follow along in whatever version you're in. And of course, we do want to encourage always that if you have a question or if there's a difference in what your version says versus what we're reading, or if you have a comment that you'd like to use to spark discussion, please make sure you enter that in the comment section below, because what that does is that helps all of us to grow. It helps us to gain spiritual wisdom and knowledge. We get input from one another. So we want to encourage that. That's what this Bible reading is all about. We're not just doing this just so we can go, oh, we're meeting some kind of obligation to read our Bible through. We're actually saying, hey, we want to use this to grow, to challenge ourselves, to gain new insight, new wisdom. So please feel free to engage in the comment section, whether you're on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're watching this video. Engage in the comment section. Let's get a lively discussion going. Not ugly, but a lively discussion going about what we're studying, what we're seeing, and especially if we can engage in thoughts that maybe go back 2 or 3 readings, because it lets us know that we're paying attention, we're following the train of thought as it leads through the scripture. So, beginning in Genesis chapter 10. Now, these are the generations of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah. And sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, the Kittites, the Rodanites, and from these the coastlands of the nations were divided into their lands, everyone according to his tongue, according to their families, by their nations. The sons of Ham were Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. And the sons of Ramah were Sheba and Dedan. Cush was the father of Nimrod, and he became a mighty one on the earth. And he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, even like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Uruk, Akkad, and Calneh in the lands of Shinar. From that land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, the city Rehoboth Ir, and Calah, and Rezin between Nineveh and Calah, that is the principal city. And Egypt was the father of the Ludites, the Anamites, the Lehabites, the Naphtuhites, the Pathrusites, the Casluhites, from whom came the Philistines, and the Caphtorites. And Canaan was the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgasites, the Hivites, the Archites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Later the families of the Canaanites spread abroad, and the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon toward Gerar to Gaza, and from Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, as far as Lasha. And these are the sons of Ham, according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands and in their nations. To Shem, who was the father of all the children of Eber, whose older brother was Japheth, were sons born also. The sons of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were Uz and Hul, and Gether and Meshech. And Arphaxad was the father of Shelah. And Shelah was the father of Eber, and to Eber were born 2 sons. And the name of one was Peleg, for in his day the earth was divided. And his brother's name was Joktan. And Joktan was the father of Almodad, Sheltheth, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All of these were the sons of Joktan. And their dwelling place was from Misha all the way to Sephar, the hill country in the east. These are the sons of Shem by their families and their language, in their lands and their nations. And these are the families of the sons of Noah according to their generations, in their nations. From these were the nations divided on the earth after the flood. Chapter 11. Now the whole earth had one language and the same words. As the people journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to each other, "Let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone and tar for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top will reach to heaven. And let us make a name for ourselves, otherwise we will be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men built. And the Lord said, "The people are one and have one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down there and confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they stopped building the city. And therefore the name of it was called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. And these are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and 2 years after the flood, and became the father of Arphaxad. And Shem lived after the birth of Arphaxad 500 years, and had other sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years, and became the father of Shelah. And Arphaxad lived after the birth of Shelah 403 years, and had other sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years, and became the father of Eber. And Shelah lived after the birth of Eber 403 years, and had other sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years, and became the father of Peleg. And Eber lived after the birth of Peleg 430 years, and had other sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and became the father of Reu. And Peleg lived after the birth of Reu 209 years, and had other sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years and became the father of Serug. And Reu lived after the birth of Serug 207 years, and had other sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and became the father of Nahor. And Serug lived after the birth of Nahor 200 years, and had other sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years and became the father of Terah. And Nahor lived after the birth of Terah 119 years, and had other sons and daughters. Now Terah lived 70 years, and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And these are the generations of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran became the father of Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Abram and Nahor took wives. And the name of Abram's wife was Sarai. And the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. And the daughter of Haran, who was the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, and she had no child. And Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, and his son's son Abram's wife, and they went out together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country, your family, and your father's house to the land I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. And I will bless them who bless you, and curse him who curses you. And in all your families of the earth will be blessed. And you, all the families of the earth, will be blessed." So Abram departed as the Lord had commanded him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. And Abram took Sarai with his wife, Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. And they came to the land of Canaan. And then Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem, to the oak of Moreh. And the Canaanites were in the land at that time. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your descendants I will give this land." So he built an altar to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he continued on to the mountain to the east of Bethel and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. Then Abram continued his journey toward the Negev. Now, there was a famine in the land. So Abram went down to Egypt to live there, for the famine was severe in the land. When he was getting near to Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, "I know you are a beautiful woman. Therefore, when the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me. But they will let you live. Say that you are my sister, so that I may be treated well for your sake. Then my life will be spared because of you." So when Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarai was very beautiful. And the princes of Pharaoh saw her and commended her to Pharaoh. And she was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he treated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and livestock, male and female, donkeys, male and female, servants and camels. But the Lord afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Abram's wife, Sarai. So Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What have you done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister?" I might have taken her as my wife. Now, here is your wife. Take her and leave." And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. Matthew chapter 4. Then Jesus was led up into the wilderness by the Spirit to be tempted by the devil. And he had fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and then he was hungry. And the tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, command that these stones be turned into bread." But he answered, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God." Then the devil took him up to the holy city and set him on the highest point of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down. For it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning you. And in their hands he shall lift you up, lest at any time you dash your foot against a stone." Jesus said to him, "It is also written, you shall not tempt the Lord your God." Again, the devil took him up on a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their grandeur, and said to him, "All of these things I will give to you, if you will fall down and worship me." And Jesus said to him, "Get away from here, Satan. For it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." Then the devil left him, and immediately angels came and ministered to him. Now when Jesus heard that John was put in prison, he left for Galilee, and leaving Nazareth, he came and lived in Capernaum, which is by the sea, in the regions of Zebulun and Naphtali, that what was spoken by Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, saying, "The land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, the way to the sea beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles, the people who sat in darkness saw a great light, and on those who sat in the land of the shadow of death, light has dawned." From that time Jesus began to preach, saying, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." As Jesus walked beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, called Peter, and Andrew his brother, throwing a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." They immediately left their nets and followed him. And going from there, he saw two other brothers, James the son of Zebedee and John his brother, in a boat with Zebedee their father, mending their nets. And he called to them, and they immediately left the boat and their father and followed him. Jesus went throughout all of Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing all kinds of sickness and all sorts of diseases among the people. And his fame went throughout all of Syria. And they brought to him all the sick people who were taken with various diseases and tormented with pain, and those who were possessed with demons, and those who had seizures, and those who had paralysis, and he healed them. And great crowds followed him from Galilee, the